Perfect. So now we're recording. Welcome. Again, this is Pat Carter. I'm the training manager here at IC Realtime. I handle all of the public webinars like this, our August webinar series, as well as any private webinars. If you're interested in hosting a webinar for your team, feel free to reach out to me. I am Patrick at icrealtime.com, and I'd be more than happy to help coordinate any kind of technical or salesy type trainings that you need for your team. It's one of the services that we provide in our training department, so please take advantage of that. Even if you've got installers that are new to the line, we can go through how to set up a recorder, how to add devices, and things of that sort. We do a lot of training here, and again, this is for you guys. We also do some great sales training. I just recently put together a new training that we'll see on the webinar series next month. And it's on the top 12 cameras that you need to know. So basically, instead of memorizing the whole line, we found that there were a dozen cameras that if you know them, you're going to get 90% of your jobs taken care of with just those cameras. So keep an eye on the schedule for next month on the top 12 cameras, or the cameras you should know. This week, or this month, we have a full calendar as well. So please, again, check out our training calendar. It is under support and events, and you'll just join in when it's time. So let's move this out of the way and get rolling today. Today we're going to talk about some new products. Again, the first webinar of the month, we always talk about new things that are happening, new gear that's coming out this month, or new things that you really should be up to speed on. And we're going to start with our ABS line. Our ABS line continues to grow more and more every month, it seems like. This line is basically our high definition over coax. We refer to it as ABS. However, the technology is AVI, essentially. Where you're doing high definition over coax cable, your existing Siamese runs. If you're doing a retrofit, you're able to now do 720p or 1080p cameras in that line on that same media. The real advantage of ABS, of course, is that you're doing your, hi there, welcome. You're doing your video as well as your 485, as well as your audio over that same piece of coax. So that's really helpful, again, if your client is adding a PTZ camera or adding audio. Now they have the functionality to be able to do that without you having to run an extra cable for audio or for 485 control. So this is perfect for retrofits. A lot of our analog guys have transitioned over to this. The price point is very similar to analog. You are using a little more hard drive space than you would use in a traditional analog system because it is a much higher resolution. However, ABS is definitely a very powerful trend. And again, our guys that are doing analog, hi, welcome. Our guys that are doing analog are moving over very, very easily to ABS. The first camera I want to introduce to you in the ABS line that has recently come out is the 2712. This particular camera is a great bullet camera. It's a varifocal camera with a really nice IR. But what makes this camera special is that it features a Starlight lens. We're going to talk a lot about cameras that are in the Starlight family. The Starlight lens is really a game changer when we talk about surveillance. What it really brings to the party is a crispness and clearness that's like nothing else. It takes a traditional high-resolution image and it kind of filters it to make it even crisper, even clearer. So you can look at a camera that's, say, a 2-megapixel camera that looks a lot more like a 4 or 5 when you see it through your monitor. The real change with the Starlight lens is nighttime viewing. The Starlight does an amazing job at night. You're actually seeing full color images during the pitch black of night. It is a great camera for outdoor applications where you're using it around a perimeter of a property. Maybe you're using it in a commercial application in a parking lot, or maybe you've got a problem with your trash bins at your facility. This is a perfect camera where there's no light. It will give you a full color, very, very crisp image. It's available in our IP line. We have several domes and bullets in the IP world for Starlight, but we also have it in the ABS world. So let me minimize this here. So as we scroll down, it's a very good looking camera, very clean, crisp camera. And so closing emails here. Very clean and crisp camera, a nice low profile, but it really gets the job done with that Starlight lens. Let's back up just a hair. As we scroll down, you'll see there is a dome camera in the ABS line as well. That's the 2712 with a D instead of a B. Again, featuring the Starlight lens, giving you an amazing view during the day and at night. It's available as a dome or a bullet in the AVS world. So again, you're seeing this line continue to evolve. As we're doing some pretty amazing things in the IP world, we're using that same technology in our high definition over coax world. And again, now you're able to use a traditional Siamese cable to get an amazing image at a very, very good price point. So let's go ahead and move into the IP world. That's where the most changes have taken place recently. Of course, our 4K recorders are out and doing very, very well. In a traditional good, better, best type scenario, we have our entry-level 7500 series, our more flagship 6000 series, and of course our enterprise 8000 series. So what these recorders bring to the party is something very cool. Well, first and foremost is, of course, the 4K output. We know ultra high definition is definitely a big trend in the industry today. We know a lot of clients are using 4K TVs or 4K monitors to view. What ultra high definition equates to is around 8 megapixel. So that gives you the ability to look kind of like you're looking out a window. It is amazing crispness and clearness. And again, we have a recorder series that will take your 5 megapixel, your Starlight lenses, your 6 megapixel, your 12, heck, your 24 megapixel cameras, and they will look amazing on this 4K recorder. The other thing that the 4K recorder brings, which is really important, is the ability to dissect that 360 image or that 720 image at the recorder itself. So we've all seen through our 4K and through our 360 webinar how I can take Smart ICRSS and actually dissect an image. I can cut it into a panoramic view. I can break it into a multi-PTZ view. There is an awful lot that I can do with that image instead of just looking at a regular fisheye circle. So now I can take that fisheye circle and actually work with it. Well, the 4K recorders have that same software, that same dissecting software built into it at the recorder level. So I can just go to my monitor, go to my mouse, I can split that image out, I can look at it in a panoramic view, I can look at it in a PTZ view, I can bring that cool window up where I've got the fisheye in the center and 9 boxes around it that I can control independently like independent PTZ cameras. It is amazing technology, and it is only built into the 4K series. These units have the ability to store a lot of data. You look at something like our 12 megapixel 360 camera. If I'm doing regular recording, I'm looking at about 5 terabytes per week of recording per camera. So you definitely want to make sure you have a recorder that has the capacity to handle a lot of storage. So we've got it. Of course, the 7500, the 6000, and the 8000 series are built for that role especially. The enterprise level 8000, the 8128K, is exactly like our 8128 normal. It has 4 4K outputs, 4 gigabit NICs, plenty of room for storage, plenty of capacity for network balancing and things of that sort. The 6000 series is primarily a 32 and a 64 channel unit. And then again, our entry level is our 7500 series. So again, if you're using the 360 technology, you really should use the 4K recorders with them. If you're using a 5 megapixel or a 6 megapixel or a 12 megapixel camera, you certainly want to go that route as well. Your client, if they have a 4K monitor, they really are going to want to do a 4K recorder just so they can see that higher resolution, that ultra high resolution, and not just 1080p. Let's move into cameras. Our 360 cameras have kind of trimmed down a little bit. There used to be 4 different cameras in this line. We've actually cut it down to 2 just to make it a little easier for everybody. The L4 is our indoor version. It's a 4 megapixel camera. It can definitely be stepped down to 2 megapixel. It's indoor rated. Of course, it has a microphone. It's non-IR, so it's perfect for your waiting rooms. Think about car dealerships. Think about doctor's offices. Think about a lobby area and a reception area into an office building, but also in a residential application. You want to cover a big foyer or you want to cover a big room. The range on this is about 50 feet in any direction, and it's going to give you that fisheye view that you can later on dissect with our 360 cameras with our 4K recorders or our Smart ICRSS. The outdoor version is the T12. This unit has gotten such a major facelift that we've changed the part number. The 720IR-T12 used to be the L12. That's our outdoor version, 12 megapixel. You're going out to about 100 feet in any direction. It has IR. Again, it is outdoor rated. It has audio built into it. This would be the camera that you'd mount out in front of your building in your front entrance area. You would mount this in your parking lots. You would mount this in your parking garage. You would put this in areas where you want to cover a large area. We've had a lot of professional sports teams use these in their concourses. When you walk into the facility, you've got a large open area where you have a lot of traffic moving through there. The T12 is perfect for those applications. Again, you can dewarp this image or dissect this image at the recorder level or through the Smart ICRSS. This is a great solution for a big problem. You've got an area where you've just got so many people moving around, you have to put 8 cameras in there to cover everybody. Now you can do just one camera that will cover everything that needs to be covered. So this again is the T12, which is the former L12. It's a great camera to use for your large outdoor areas as well as indoor areas if you need a very high resolution image. Let's go to bullets. There are some new Starlight bullets that I want you to be aware of. As we scroll down, here's the first one. The 2812 SL5 is a bullet with the Starlight lens. Again, it's very similar to the AVS version, and that Starlight gives you a whole new world of viewing. So again, during the day, it looks amazing. At night, it looks even more amazing. So here's the 2812, the 2 megapixel bullet. It has a big brother, the 3812. Notice how easy our part numbers are. If I'm looking for a bullet, it'll be a B. If I'm looking for a 2 megapixel, it'll be a 2 something. If I'm looking for a 3, it'll be a 3 something. If it's Starlight, it'll have a Starlight. If it's Umbrella, it'll have an A in it. If it's a PTZ, it'll have a P. This is really simple for our installers and for our project managers to pick the right camera, because you can literally look at the part number and tell exactly what that camera is. Let me dismiss this. We also, of course, have a new 4 megapixel camera, the B4012 VIR. This is a vandal-proof IR dome with analytics built into it. So you're seeing more and more of a trend towards facial recognition. This is the vandal-proof version. There is a non-vandal-proof version as well, the B4001 IR. Again, with the analytics built into it to do facial recognition, to be able to actually see who's there. You can go out to your VMS software if you're using Milestone or Paxton or ONSSI. You can now take that image and give them a crystal clear image with a much, much higher level of sensitivity. We've had a lot of requests for a covert camera, and this is it. This is our first version of our covert camera. Essentially what you're looking at with the T801 is a very, very small camera lens. The actual tip of the camera, the lens itself, is about 1/8 of an inch. It fits perfectly inside of a single gang box. Let me go down to a little bigger image. So you see the camera itself is here. It has a 35-foot cable that runs up your wall, runs up into your plenum, and that's where the controller box is. It's PoE. It can also be local powered. It also has all of your alarm contacts if you want to do relays out. This is a great little covert camera. Again, it fits comfortably inside of a single gang box. You can put just a regular cover over it and cut a little hole where the camera lens is going to be. I've had clients already retrofit PIRs or retrofit different types of devices to mount this camera into, and they fit very, very well. We've been using this almost as like a door camera. It has a really nice 3.6 millimeter fisheye view. And again, you can dissect that image through our Smart ICRSS if you like, to be able to take that image to the next level and break down independent regions. So this is a new camera that you definitely want to be aware of, the T801. It is an intelligent. It does have some analytics built into it. It is a very powerful, tiny bullet camera. Let's talk domes for a second. There are some Starlight domes that I want to introduce you to. As I scroll down my list, here's the first one, the D for dome, the 2048 SL. So you know it's a 2 megapixel. You know it's a Starlight. It's a varifocal camera that has that Starlight technology. Again, you're seeing that really grow into the line from our AVS to our bullets to our domes. Of course, it has a big brother, the 3 megapixel Starlight. Let me scroll down to that. Scroll. Here we go. The D3812. We know that that's a dome. We know that that's a 3 megapixel with Starlight. Great varifocal camera with an amazing view at night. So again, when you see Starlight, you will appreciate it and really enjoy it. Talk to your sales rep and get a demo of the Starlight camera now to see exactly what that night vision and color looks like. This is a very positive trend with IC Realtime. You're seeing a lot more Starlight cameras come out, and this is definitely a very, very good product. Let me scroll down. We have a new 5-megapixel camera, which is the 5000 VIR. Again, when you're doing 4K, you want to get as close to 8 megapixel as possible. This is a very powerful unit and one of our very popular vandal-proof IR dome boxes. So this is a fairly large camera. It definitely is a deterrent. A motorized lens, so you have a great zoom to center. A 5-megapixel image at 4 to 9 millimeter gives you a really nice close-up view. Great IR. Again, a great vandal-proof dome. We're using a lot of these in schools. We're using a lot of these in military applications where people want to have a nice, powerful camera with a vandal-proof functionality. We're going to jump into PTZs real quick. There are some new PTZs that have come out. I start with my favorite PTZ, which is the P5330 AIR. This camera I recommend almost on every job where a PTZ is required. It's a 2-megapixel camera with a 30 times zoom. It features the Umbrella chipset like GoPro uses and really gives you the ability to zoom in on a very tight product, a really tight target. We've had a lot of people that love this camera but want something with a little bit more resolution. No problem. We now have the P4305, which is the 4-megapixel version of this camera. Exact same functionality, same zoom, great outdoor camera. It comes with the wall mount and the power supply for it. Awesome, awesome camera. So again, the 5330 would be your 2-megapixel version. Your 4305 would be your 4-megapixel version. Be on the lookout for a part number change there on the 5330. It's probably going to be a 2330 here before long. So the PTZ line is continuing to grow. Of course, you know that we have our tracking cameras. We now have a new tracking camera. You have the Y-L, which is a 30 times zoom. Now there's the L, which is a 40 times zoom. So this is that camera that we talked about before that has a laser IR at 1,500 feet, a 40 times zoom. I'm literally able to get facial recognition at 8 football fields away. This is an amazing military-grade camera that is now in the civilian world. You definitely want to get familiar with this if you're using a ranch or a farm or an area where you have a large piece of land to cover. You set virtual fences. You can set grids. Whenever a target of a particular range is there, it will automatically grab that target and follow it as far as the eye can see. Amazing PTZ technology in the 2300 for the 30 times zoom and the 2400 for the 40 times zoom. We've kind of covered the intercom system in the past, and again, I just kind of want to briefly roll upon it. You know that we have a really cool VTO system or IP intercom system. The indoor touch panels are amazing. We have a traditional panel as well as two that look very much like iPads. It's designed for a single family home. You have a single camera box out in front of the house. You ring the buzzer, it lights up on all the monitors inside the house. You can do multiple stations, you can do multiple monitors. You have internal call where I can call other monitors or do a page all. If I'm using a Z-Wave magnetic lock, I can remotely unlock the door from the inside. If I have an alarm relay and a smart lock, I can trigger it as well. This has been a very powerful system for our single family homes. We now have a system that's designed more for apartment level complexes. Now we're getting a lot of projects where we're doing back to school, we're doing college dorms. This is the 1202 and the 1201. This is the actual apartment or condominium. Think about it in a scenario where you have an office complex where maybe multiple offices are within one building and they can buzz people in. That's what this is for. This is for your dorms where you call up to the room, they have the monitor inside hanging up on the wall, they can see who's at the door and let them in. This is perfect application for your large-scale condominiums, your large-scale apartments. We can do multiple buildings with this. This is a very, very cool solution for IP intercom that goes outside the single-family home line. So again, familiarize yourself with the 2012 or the 1201 and the 1202. If you're doing any kind of large-scale intercom system, we now have a solution for that as well.
Hey, Patrick?
Yes, sir.
Oh, can I interrupt you with a question?
Yes, please.
On this 1202, whatever, yeah, it's 1202, I guess. How is it wired in it if you put that in a dorm which are usually made out of cinder blocks?
Correct. This is definitely an IP device, so it will require an IP Cat 5 or Cat 6 ran to it. I've seen in dorms that they usually have some sort of system already in place. It's usually analog and crummy. You can
Yeah.
just use that as a pull wire to pull it through.
Okay.
A lot of your dorms, we could run this off of a wireless AP if we need to and just hardwire right to it. It definitely has a lot of expandability. Power obviously needs local power. It's 12-volt DC, so you'll have a local power source. Actually, the last few retrofits that I've done, the analog already had a 18.2 or 16.2 already ran to it, so they just reused that for the power and just ran a Cat5 to it. So it will definitely work in that case. Now, we know that we have a PoE system for the monitors inside. If I go back to my monitors, I kind of brushed over this guy, but the 1030 is the PoE for the monitors themselves, and it will support. In fact, it'll do, I think, 6 monitors on each PoE. And in that case, all you have to do is run a Cat5 or a Cat6 back to this switch, and you're good to go.
Patrick?
Thank you.
Yes.
This is Alan with a smart home. I had a question. Have you interfaced the residential version with, say, Elon's G system or any of the others like Savant?
Great question. Well, again, the camera is a traditional IP camera, and it is ONVIF, obviously, so it is going to be compatible. What I've done in those cases is brought that camera back into the recorder or back into the home automation system as a regular camera. So again, it can record, which is kind of cool. It can also, bear with me here one second, let me close this out. It can record, which is very cool, and it can do some interface with your home automation system. She must really like me. Here we go. It can do some interface. Now, it's not going to interact with your home automation system, your Elan or your Crestron or your Savant like you want it to yet. We are working on a module for it so that it will have the same intercom functionality as you would traditionally see in an IP intercom system with your home automation system. I got to assume that probably the first system that will come out with it will be the Control 4. We are working with House Logic specifically on modules for this. And obviously, once we have it down for C4, we'll quickly move into Elan, Savant, Crestron, RTI, Universal Remote, all those guys as well. I don't have an ETA on that as of yet, but I know that our R&D guys are working on that. Another one that we get a lot of questions on is tying into SIP. A lot of your intercom systems tie into the phone system so that you can pick up your phone and talk to whoever's at the door. We don't have that module yet. We don't have that functionality yet, but again, it is something we're working on.
Okay, thanks.
Absolutely. Any other questions about the intercom before I move on? Sweet. You've noticed that a few of our cameras have recently gone into what's referred to as high PoE. So we brought in a switch specifically for those applications. Most of our PTZ cameras are still on 24-volt AC, but occasionally you will see a high PoE. Basically, you have 3 different levels of PoE power. You have traditional PoE, which is what you would use for your IP phone system or your IP cameras. You have PoE Plus, which is a little bit more sturdy. It's about twice the amperage of a traditional PoE. And then you have high PoE. High PoE is a fairly new technology. It's designed for super high output. It's about 8 times more amperage than a traditional PoE system. So you couldn't just use a PoE booster for a high PoE camera. So we brought in a switch. This particular switch, the high PoE 8, is an 8-port switch. It has 4 ports of regular PoE. It has 2 ports of PoE Plus, and it has 2 ports of high PoE. Now, high PoE doesn't have the same distances as regular PoE. For example, on a traditional PoE, you can go 100 meters or about 330 feet. On PoE Plus, you bring that down just a little bit to about 300 feet. On high PoE, you really want to stay under 200 feet on those runs, but it's nice to have a switch that gives you that functionality. It gives you that ability to see and push power, high power, that far out. So again, if you're working with any cameras that are PoE Plus or high PoE, know that we now have a switch that will power those cameras up for you as well. Good stuff. Finally, I want to talk about a tester that we've been using for, gosh, the last year or so. I fortunately had the opportunity to really tinker with this week. I was out speccing a job, and we were showing off the camera resolution on it and showing off this tool to the installers. The ITM 9000 is a really cool installer tool. It has the ability to do analog as well as AVS as well as IP. I can plug an IP camera into it. It's going to generate PoE power for it. It'll allow me to configure the camera. It'll allow me to view the camera. If I'm out on a job site without a helper like I was, I'm able to basically plug the camera into this, get my configuration, make it work, position the camera exactly where I want it to be, plug it in, and I'm done. This is a very, very powerful tool. I think every company out there should have at least one in their office for the techs to use when they're doing installs. I've got clients already who have thrown one on every single truck because it's invaluable. It's a great tool, the ITM 9000. We have tons in stock, and I really want to make sure you guys are aware that we have a very cool testing tool and configuration tool for all of your protocols. So this is a great, great tool that you definitely want to make sure if you're configuring a PTZ, if you're configuring your intelligent cameras, this module will go right into the OSD, and you'll be able to configure everything right from this handheld tool without having to do everything through the monitor. So again, a very, very cool tool to add to your arsenal. Again, every dealer should have at least one. Talk to your sales rep and get some information on this. It is on the price sheet, so if you have the current price sheet, you'll see the ITM 9000 on it. Again, I didn't think very much of it until I actually used one, and I realized that, you know, it's like having a multimeter with you. You just can't live without one. So definitely wanted to mention that today, the ITM 9000. We talked a little bit about some of the new AVS technology. We talked about the 4K recorders, a lot about our IP cameras, our intercom system, our new high PoE switch, and of course the ITM 9000. Are there any questions?
Yes, you forgot
Please.
to tell us that the ITM 9000 is on a great promo for August.
Oh, excellent. Even better. Thank you. There's a great promo for it in August.
Is there?
I stay clear of all the promos myself, but great. Excellent. Yeah, talk to your sales rep about the promo for it because, again, it's an awesome tool. All right. Are there any other questions? Perfect. Well, we will be doing this webinar again this afternoon at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. If you have any colleagues that missed out, make sure they join us at 4 o'clock. Again, we did record it, so it will be available on the IC Realtime YouTube page. It will also be available at icrealtime.com very soon. We're putting together all of our training videos and all of our webinars so that you guys can jump in and hear yourselves whenever you like. And I want to thank you very much for your time, and have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.